Hello everyone, my name is Akshay Kumar Dattatray Bhagat and today is 28th of July 2022 and it's my original video. So our today's topic is IoC, that is inversion of control and dependency injection in Spring. So as we know, when we are working on advanced Java, that is Spring framework, at that time we are having the inversion core Java in Spring Core. In Spring Core, we are having the dependency injection and IOC. Before that, we have seen that how Spring Web is working. So when any user hits the URL, at that time the request comes to the Spring Web. At that time, the controller is having different methods for execution. So like this only, in when we are dealing with an inversion of control. So basically, when we are coding with in Java, at that time we know we are creating object of a class and we are using that objects to call any method or call any variable, instance variable. So in Spring Framework, we have given the provision by inversion of control. So the work of inversion of control is to create the object and keep it into the container. So basically, how does it works? So if our class is simple Java class, at that time the inversion of control doesn't create the object of our class. So basically, there are certain rules for creating the object. So by inversion of control, also we are going towards the loosely coupled. So because of this, we are saving much time because for creation of object and creation of object it takes just minute second of time. But we save this time because in Spring Framework we have automatically provision that when we create any class, then at that time the object is created into container. So basically there are certain rules. So for that sake, our class should have a class level annotation. So then and then only the IOC creates the object of our class. And if we are having another package, at that time the IOC doesn't create object because the package name should start with the same as the base package name. So then and then only it creates the object of the another package class also. So these are certain rules. So these all objects have been kept in the container. So how to access the objects from the container? So for that sake, we are having dependency injection. So basically, what is meant by dependency injection? So where we are required the object to use. Also in Spring Framework, these are the ways to use the object or create the object. But there is also another way to we can also create the object by our own itself. So how we are creating the object in Java? Like this only we can create the object by using the new keyword in Spring Framework also. Or if we want to use the object from the container, then we are moving towards the dependency injection. So dependency injection means basically it is dependent on IOC. Means when the method has been called by the controller, at that time one thread comes. So that thread requires the object of that method. So at that time when the dependencies inject the object wherever it is required or it is called. So that provision has done by dependency injection. So basically there are different types of dependencies injection where we can inject the dependencies like field based dependency injection, then the constructor dependency injection, then the setter dependency injection and getter dependency injection. So like this way we can inject the object wherever we are required. So we will see one by one how it works. So in field-based dependency injection, we are just taking the class name and the data type as a class name and our variable. So reference. So when like this we are taking in Java, then the object doesn't have any value. It is having a null. So but in Spring Framework, when we use annotation as an auto add, at that time it is taking the object from the container which is created while creating the class. At that time the object is created, and if we use the annotation of auto add, at that time it automatically takes the object from the object from our container. So that work is done by the dependency injection. Then the next one is an constructor based dependency injection. So for this sake, we are creating a constructor of controller class. At that time, suppose we are having the another class as a student. So then we are passing the parameters as a student and one reference, and we are initializing the local variable, that is a student variable. So at that time the first our object has been called of student, and the constructor has been then instantiated and initialized. Then this is the constructor based dependency injection. Then the next one is an setter based dependency injection. In setter based dependency injection, like this only, we are having return type as an void, and we are just initializing our class name and creating and calling of our object. We are forcing the container to give the object of, in this scenario we are forcing our setter method to give the object forcefully uh, for the creation instantiation of our controller class. So then this is one way. Then the next one is an by using getter based dependency injection. In getter based dependency injection, we are having a return type of the getter based as an our as our class student, that is class name. Then we are returning this student, and automatically if we use annotation of request mapping, at that time if we hit the URL, at that time automatically the object has been created, and it is called due to our auto add annotation forcefully. So like this, these are the four ways to inject the dependencies and get the object into our class by using dependency injection. So this is, so by this way we are getting and creation of the object and handling of the object has been used in the Spring framework. So this was all about the IoC and dependency injection. Thank you.